Maybe. And we're live.
And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with me tonight's my awesome co-host, Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
Being halfway evil and overly aggravative.
Hey, you're almost back to normal. Cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little busyness. We've
Yes,
been a little busy.
just a little.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a little.
we remodeled the house.
Oh my gosh, yes, we did.
Yes, and that's been fun. And rewired the office. Um, got asked by Amazon to be included in their Amazon Play, or what do they call it?
The what?
The Amazon Music.
Oh,
The
I don't.
email I showed you last.
Yes, yes. We're now in. Sorry, Amazon. Whatever its podcast thing is.
Yeah,
So
Amazon.
yes, you may now also be listening to us on Amazon. So hello and welcome.
Yeah,
But yes.
yeah, we've
Hello,
got.
Lori and Brenda and Alexandria, and yes, Kathy, I do believe you made it.
Yeah, hello.
Yay!
Yeah, so guys, thank you for giving us popularity. So, it's been a busy week. We've had some great information, some great things happen. Which one do you want to tackle first?
Oh my goodness. So I think we all could use a good laugh to start this week. So let's go with WeChat and TikTok.
Okay.
God, what a joke. Yes, we are. We are growing all over the place, Donna. But yeah, no, so yeah. Yeah, so President Trump did a sudden, I'm assuming, executive order to shut down WeChat and TikTok in the US within 45 days, or at least certain transactions. No one knows what a transaction is, like what he means. It's undefined. But yeah, they're heavily citing the national security angle. They're making the emotional plea of, let's see, what was that one I loved? Yeah, Peter Navarro.
Security.
Do I know?
That's been the dumbest one I've heard. That it risks national security.
Oh, yeah. Totally risking national security, surveil or monitor your movements, put your family in the crosshairs of an Orwellian regime. This is from the New York Times and what Peter Navarro had to say, the White House Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. He posed a question to the mothers of America. It's 10 p.m. Does the Chinese Communist Party know where your children are at? Like, good God, can we friggin' recycle more garbage? And if you're not laughing yet, you should be, because here's the reality. Here's the reality. While I understand the discomfort between Chinese government and Chinese business and the level of influence the Chinese government is having over Chinese-based businesses, it's like, where the hell have you been for the last 40 years? Like, this is not new. This is not exciting. And can we talk about Cambridge Analytica before we start talking about data?
Mm-hmm.
Because, hi, you didn't mind when Russia made you president, but now you care because you can inflict this against China. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, well, and here's where I'm at, and this is the whole reason why. It's because, unlike on YouTube, unlike on Facebook, unlike on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
the teenagers of America said, we have had enough of this yucks.
Yeah.
They
And
were
this is what it's all about.
through TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well,
Alexander brings up a point, but it's not one I agree with. I think Bill Gates is very much going, oh, we want that, and here's why we want that. Is because we don't want to deal with this idiot.
Well, some of it is that. Some of it is also, it is a really awesome platform. If you haven't noticed, Bill Gates always buys the best. Well, he does.
He does.
Like, he hasn't had a whole lot of good ideas, but other than he knows what to buy most of the time. Like, because look at Microsoft. They have bought amazing technology, amazing software, and made Microsoft a company. But God knows every time they try to have an original idea, it turns out like what?
Right.
Like Microsoft Ken. Anyone remember the Microsoft Ken? Anyone? Anyone?
Is that the paperclip's name?
No, it was a stupid little cell phone. It made it 6 weeks on the market before they pulled it. It was that bad.
Yeah.
Like, they hyped it, and it was this ugly cell phone, and no one remembers it, or no one should remember it.
I just that annoying paperclip, and I believe it came on Millennium. Yes. Drove me freaking crazy. Get him off.
It was the greatest American murder.
Yes.
The day Clippy died.
Exactly.
Everyone celebrated, like, thank you. Like, oh my God, could we turn that off? But yes. Hello, Patrick. Sorry, didn't mean to miss you there. And a G. But yeah, well, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that's. Well, yeah. It seems more like it's been more interference in TikTok being bought. But the whole reality is what you're saying. He's just still really ticked about that friggin' rally.
That's all right. There's going to be more. There's going to be more problems coming out of it. There's more people standing up.
Yeah.
A story that we're waiting to finish cooking is where apparently the Secret Service sought an unarmed man at the White House.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that one to pop up.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Honestly, in the list of failed Microsoft products, Danielle, that is a fun and interesting place to go. I don't remember a watch. I'm not saying it didn't happen. They may have done. Let me see. I'm trying to remember if Microsoft did a watch. Like, they've done some really weirdo things. Like trying to compete, trying to do the whole, like, we'll keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh God, I think they did. The Microsoft Band. Yes. And oh God, that's still available. Oh Jesus, that's even uglier than I imagined. It's just the friggin' tiles from Windows, and it. Oh no, that's hideous. And but prominently it has a reboot button. I'm assuming.
Because it's going to need one often.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, last night I spent like half the night restarting my computer.
Oh, yeah. But no, Apple has a watch. Microsoft has a band. And it looks even worse than the crappy, like, and I don't have it with me. We have non-high-end smartwatches. Like, they do their stuff. This looks like even less than that.
Wow.
Like, don't get me wrong. Anyone like Samsung, if you're listening, I would love a Gear. But anyone else?
I'll review it for you.
Yes. I'm not giving it back. But yes.
You know, if we review something, we get to keep it. But it's like, dear gods, can this administration get any crazier? Like, I didn't watch reality TV because I thought it was stupid. I'm getting really tired of my news being reality TV.
or more importantly, being run like a reality television show. Like, that's what our government's at right now. Is like, let's just start some shit.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. But hello, Emily, and so glad you could get the munchkin to bed and join us.
Yeah.
But yay. And Shannon, yes. Ooh, there's money tea. When was there money tea? I missed the money tea. Where's the money tea?
That was experiment. Probably around the time we were doing the revamping of the office.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of those custom blend things I'd done, and I'm probably do that eventually again.
Ooh, new products for House of Aeson?
New products possibly for House of Aeson. I mean, come on, I've got a binder full of recipes. And when I say binder, I'm not talking small.
Oh, gosh.
No, it isn't.
Please don't drop it. You'll crack the floor.
Yeah, then I'll call Patrick over.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so it's not in my drawer, but it's about that thick. It's the big purple one you see me with.
Well, we have high praise for it.
Yeah.
Danielle says it works wonders.
Yeah, I need to get a time to talk and drop off dialing for dollars.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, good deal. Yeah, like Emily's all about it. She's wait a minute. Like, I think her feet just unpropped so she can sit up and be like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I need some money tea.
Yes, money tea exists.
Get my credit card.
Yes, money tea exists. I've got to figure out packaging and all the other fun stuff because really I don't think you guys want your stuff in Ziploc bags from the dollar store.
No.
But it may be like a loose leaf type thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're still like House of Aeson was supposed to be in a bigger part of this year, and then COVID-19 happened.
Right.
And so, yeah, we're still like, I think we really thought like maybe we'd be like the rest of the world and like we would get to go to a pool this summer and, you know, eat in restaurants again. But no, it's the United States.
Yes.
Like, apparently the entire country of children left behind.
Mm-hmm. And like, it would be nice to get my ass back to the gym.
It really is sort of like, I think the movie's Taken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wherever, or maybe it actually is called Left Behind. Where like the entire city clears out, but a few people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very religious, like, you know, end of days movie. But yeah, that's kind of where we are at in the world. Is we're just on the plane without the pilot, going, oh crap.
Yeah. But no, definitely there are going to be new products. Money Tea is on the list. Common Comfort is on the list. Then I've got a ginger tea that I use for cleansings. I mean, there's some teas that'll come out there, but I have to get supplies out and get suppliers because I am not dealing with bullshitters. I'm not dealing with companies that I can't deal with, or that can't apparently understand that if I pay expedient shipping, that's more than 3 weeks. I want it in 3 days.
Yes. Well, and that can be a big part of any business, is getting the supply channels lined up and making sure we're getting quality product from them.
Right.
Like, no one ever wants to give you a bad product.
Exactly. And then, you know, the other part of that is getting the right packaging. You know, we started out with metal tins and found that, no.
Yeah, that was almost a disaster.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even realize how bad. Like, we thought, no, this will be great. This will be great. Yeah, we can work around that. But, yes, and you did have a question that popped in.
Okay.
Sorry, we were not ignoring you, Ajee.
Yeah.
And it's, All right, so March 9th, 1995. Why is my life falling apart? Sorry, G. Hope you're still with us. We were trying to get there.
No.
We got a little carried away there.
No, we grab them throughout the show, and then at the end of the show, we do take a line up.
Yeah. But, yeah. And hello, Terry.
G, to put it nicely, it's because you're going through a growing period. It's kind of like house remodeling. Sometimes you have to let go of stuff. You have to throw stuff out. The universe is just going, we ain't putting up with this anymore. It's time to clean it up. Because we get the Justice and the Eight of Cups here. It's time for you to walk away from things and leave them where they are. This is a heartbreaking moment. And the thing is you're starting anew with the Ace of Swords. You're going to start something new. You're going to start being new. I think that we're looking at it in time-wise. After we get through the destruction of the tower, probably about 7 weeks, and you need to be checking your goals at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Achi.
Danielle, definitely send me the link. I'm totally open to it. Because Lord knows there's stuff I can't get here. All right. So, our next topic. Let's just start out completely with the presidential race run, starting with the biggest joke I've seen, and it's now becoming criminal.
Yes, God. Like, I wasn't sure which way you were going, but then I heard the rest of that sentence, and I went, "Oh, Kanye West."
Yes.
Yes. So
someone needs to get him into, Ward 5. I don't want to say Betty Ford Center, but some place that has mental help.
well, and right now, like, forgetting like Kanye West as a person, like his campaign is in trouble. Like, he's being charged or potentially facing charges of election fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of what was submitted on his behalf is illegitimate.
Yeah.
Like the signatures to get him on the ballot, if you take a closer look, unfortunately, he used a firm, I guess we'll go with, or a person, a coordinator, that already has issues in 3 states.
Right.
And so now he was facing issues in yet another state.
Mm-hmm.
For the way that those signatures were submitted, that so many were thrown out as illegitimate. No
Mm-hmm.
last name, unregistered voter, no location data. Like,
Mickey Mouse cannot. Mickey Mouse isn't registered to vote in New Jersey. He's a registered voter of Florida.
Oh, darn it.
Bernie Sanders isn't a registered voter in New Jersey. He's in Massachusetts.
I have an address in North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
And that's a kind of an old working joke for the company I used to work at, that we had 2 dummy accounts that we had multiple dummy accounts. They're all based on Disney characters. Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, they all live in North Carolina. And they have horrible debt situations. Like, y'all, Walt Disney doesn't pay for shit. That's what we learned.
Well, what I don't
get, healthcare is crap.
Right. Well, what I don't get, and this is something that I've repeatedly not gotten about this, and when his wife and his mother-in-law are begging and trying to get 501 or 511 or whatever the code is for it, for him to get a mental health check, we have serious problems. That, like, I'm scared for him. Danielle points out his mother died and he went nuts. Now, his mother died and his control went off because she probably helped keep him under wraps. And it's going to be one of those, it's like, oh God, can we stop? stop it, please. But this is a whole feed the Trump nation, pull the votes to a third party. I look at some of and let's set Kanye West to the side because, it's like saying Mickey Mouse is running for president. Can we please, when we look at third parties, and granted, they are great, they are wonderful, some of those people are really good, but we have to, and I think that we're going to see a lot more third parties as the Republican Party disintegrates.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Totally.
This isn't a third party. This isn't even a party. This is a star on something. I'll guarantee he's on something, having a meltdown and pulling apart.
Well, and moreover, like this seems more like a GOP stunt.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, it is just meant to split the vote up.
Right.
And throw it around. Though I don't know what they're expecting to do. Like, it almost seems like the GOP is trying to split the vote between Trump and Kanye.
Right.
For the sole intent of getting rid of Trump. Like, this is how bad part of the GOP is seeing this.
Well,
I don't think you're going to see a lot of Democrats come across.
What I feel and what I really feel in general is this is a Trump, because if you guys remember 4 years ago, Kanye made news because he had a private conference with Trump. Mm-hmm. I'm really feeling that this is to go after our minority votes on the Democratic ticket, because I'm sorry, it's like, and we see this in gay lifestyle all the time, and we've seen it over and over. Mm-hmm. There is a bias built in there that says if a gay electoral, I don't care if he's the stubbiest queen that has no fucking ties to the community, but if it comes out of LGBT, we'll vote for him. I think people are thinking because he's Kanye West, all the reality fans will turn around and vote for him. Because they want to see a reality White House. Why we need a second season, I don't get a clue.
And a crazy reality White House at that.
Yes.
Like, I just can't even imagine that presidency. Like, I don't think it's going to be worse. I will say that. I don't think it could be worse than a Trump presidency.
I just don't want the bust of George Washington having cameras installed in his eyes.
Well, there's that. But hey.
Yeah. So, that kind of leads us into our new one, which I'm actually very happy with. I'm going to do something I haven't done in ever done on this show in over a decade. Biden chose a running mate. 1, she's female. 2, she's African American. Mm-hmm. 3, she's an ally.
Yes.
4, she's a California senator that will put screws to people, and I've seen her in C-SPAN. She ain't nice. She ain't wordy. She'll cut you.
Yep, basically. She will trim you down. And yes, we do love Kamala Harris.
Yes. So I'm backing Biden and Harris.
No, I don't know. Kathy's going with the choices really suck. I'm not there.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that no, I don't think Biden was necessarily my first choice when the whole field was there. But I'm good. I'm good with Joe. I'm good.
Well, not only that, but if he's got Harris as a vice president, he ain't gonna get by with much because she'll slap him.
Basically.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Right. And I like her. Now, granted, I would love to see a Harrison Warren ticket. I'm totally into Warren. I love her in the Senate. I think she would be wonderful in the White House or anywhere in the West Wing. Just because she knows her stuff and she'll cut pennies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. So we got a bunch of questions.
Yeah. So Danielle, 4283. Will we purchase land or home soon?
Looking at it, I feel you do purchase land and put a home on it. I feel like that will probably be within 6 to 9 months. I will caution you to check the laws about the land, what you can do with it, how you can handle it, and listen to advice on it. I do feel like this will probably be something very good for you. I think it'll be great for everyone. Make sure to homestead it, i.e. it goes on to Matthew, in the deed list Matthew. That way that things will be a lot easier and there isn't this big doubt and trust. Because we all know Mary isn't going anywhere.
All righty. Okay, and then we have Emily, January 1st, 82. Is my son actually going to be in physical school this year, or will I be teaching him at home or online again? She has a further note that because the school board here is writing their policy in water so far and no one can figure out what's going to happen. I hear that.
You're going to be at home. He may go to physical school. I don't feel like he's at school much. And I would look for that more into the spring. There's a lot of issues not being dealt with this policy. There's going to be a lot of confusion. And you're going to have to be the mama with the wand going, oh, fuck no, I'll knock you over the head over my child.
Okay. So, prepare to fight.
Well, no, right. Prepare to command.
Well, that's
I think there's a group of mothers out there. And Emily, I know your skill set. I think you're going to be great as a teacher. You've got another teacher there in the family that can help. And I would network with other parents, like do some trading. If you don't like teaching reading, fine. Don't teach him reading. Teach another child via Zoom or something. Watercolor basics for a 5-year-old. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that home network teaching.
Absolutely. Ready for one more?
Yep.
Oh, wait. No, we can't do one more. Kathy, we do need a date of birth.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I was about to read yours. Let me double check. Oh, there it is. 7/28/62. Okay. So she technically gives you a coin toss on answering one of two questions. So she says 2 questions. I realize you can only answer one, so your choice. Will my car accident arbitration on September 22nd settle well for me on that day? Or how does Chris and my relationship change? And I hope I got the name.
Give me the car one. Read it again.
Okay. Will my car accident arbitration on September 22nd settle well for me on that day?
No, you're looking at October before it even settling. I think that it may be handled, but the final settlement won't be until October. Next question in that.
How does Triz and my relationship change? And again, I hope I'm getting that name right.
I think you guys are still trying to figure out how to balance emotions with communication and feelings. I think you need to take a little bit more praise and compliments. I think that you need to take a little bit more of the shine. And I think it comes full circle and it's a lot more in balance. All right.
We do have one more.
Okay.
Patrick Webb, 21389. Should I get the land from Danielle's mother's side? Hey, we're starting to really like the husband-wife tag team here.
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Very much so. Yes,
The-
but make sure it's got the paperwork fully spelled out. I also feel like that, it's going to be a lot of bountifulness. This is good land, and I feel like that it'll grow in value. But again, make sure it goes into at least Matthew's name.
Okay.
All right, guys. It's been real fun. All right.
Well, we have one trying to come in, but we'll go ahead and hit the next topic while that fills in.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're at what? California?
California
And-
Judge.
Do I now?
California Judge trying to make you punch a time clock.
I know, right? That was my thought as I was reading that, is that, ooh, this could be issues for like a lot of different industries.
Mhm.
So Uber and Lyft are effectively facing a challenge from California, and have been, because California has changed the way it classifies the difference between an independent contractor and an employee. And Uber and Lyft have really, really fought this. And the California has, I believe, a ballot initiative to answer the question. But in the meantime, there's a judge that's actually saying, "Oh no, this case can proceed." So it is starting to crack open the door between what defines an independent contractor and what defines an employee. And right now, it looks like Uber and Lyft drivers may effectively end up employees.
Right. Now, the always the same guidelines has always been: if you have to punch a clock, then you're an employee. If you have to have certain equipment, then you're an employee. If, what is it? If you have a required schedule, you're an employee. However, if you don't fit those guidelines, you're not an employee. You're an independent contractor.
Well, but that's not quite the argument California is making.
Okay.
The argument that California is making is that effectively the drivers for Uber and Lyft are not like an inconsequential part.
Right.
Like it's not just meh. They are actually the whole basis of Uber and Lyft. Like the software isn't really Uber, and the software isn't Lyft. Like without the drivers using that software, there is no Uber and Lyft. You can't extricate the two.
Right.
So what that judge or what that case is arguing is that no, these are interlocking pieces. You don't have a business without these drivers. If you don't have a business without these drivers, then they're employees.
Right.
Which I can follow that argument, and I think that's a realistic change. Because even though because one, Uber and Lyft has tried to make required working times. They've done a lot to try to push their services into a near employee relationship without those pesky unemployment benefits, insurance, vacation, like without the benefits package.
Exactly.
And a guaranteed pay rate.
Right. Now, here's the differences that I'm seeing a lot between Uber and Lyft and the networks. I'm not employed by networks. They are my vendors, meaning technically I'm hiring them to provide a service.
True.
The service is to process credit cards, give me a phone or a chat line or a camera stream, and to operate the back office. Same as hiring an accountant. If anything, they are my employee.
But does that network have a business without all of you? Like if all of you left,
Mm-hmm.
you just up and one day said, okay, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing this anymore. Like your company sucks. We don't want to be here.
Right.
Then what does that network have left?
Right. The
They have
software.
software, but is that something they can actually, like, that's not exactly a thing they're selling. They don't sell their software.
No, they sell
They're
their
not
service.
selling you access to it.
You know, it's like if everyone quit using a MasterCard, MasterCard wouldn't have a business.
Well, very true.
And
But again, slightly
yeah,
different.
I'm really watching this story because this is going to be a major change. You know, I have 11 different vendors, work with 11 different networks. If this goes through, then I'm going to have to choose which network to go to, who's got the most benefits. I'm going to have to hit a time clock. I'm going to have to, you know, do all this, be an employee, and there goes my business. Because you know what they're going to do with that is, oh, we want exclusive.
Ooh. Well, okay, and Jessica brings up a very strong point that, or a very heartfelt point that she had to struggle to explain that to a social worker, the whole independent contractor versus an employee,
Yeah,
and whether or not she was employed.
right.
And it's a struggle.
Oh, it's a struggle every time when someone says, how many jobs do you have? And I say 13 currently. And they're like,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but technically you don't. You have one business.
mm-hmm. 3.
Like, well, but you see what I'm saying though. With
Right.
though, like if you're looking at 13 networks,
Mm-hmm.
and do you work for 13 companies, sort of, or do you, one business, have 13 vendors
Mm-hmm.
supplying customers to you?
Right.
And that can be a big part of determining that relationship as well. And it is hard to ferret out the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think California may have muddied the waters.
Oh, I think they've done more than money. They've just created more bullshit we have to deal with.
Well, but it also goes back and forth on those same lines
Mm-hmm.
of when does, the situation shift?
Right.
Because we've seen a lot of businesses try to hire what would traditionally have been called regular employees,
Mm-hmm.
as independent contractors. You just have to wear this uniform, be here at 8 a.m., leave at 5 p.m., do everything we ask the way we tell you to. You're not allowed to, do the work, with any independence.
Mm-hmm.
But, you're an independent contractor.
Right.
And that's where it starts to kind of screw that relationship. Is, okay, what are you asking of these people?
Right. And see, like the drivers, the thing that is different majorly before the networks in this is Lyft has its own rate. Everything has its own rate. The driver can't set the rate and go like, all right, I want $1 per mile and $10 pickup fee.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And so, yeah, and then Emily brings up also a very good point, which, well said. Their entire business plans were basically to offer taxi services at a very cheap rate to undercut standard companies. Then, when they've taken over the market as the monopoly, raise the rate and finally make a profit because they're running at a deficit right now off of investment money.
Mm-hmm.
And where have we heard that before? Come on, guys. You know this. It is one of the largest dots on our landscape. Always low prices, big smiley face.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yes.
Like, that was Walmart's business model. That's what we're talking about in terms of, the job landscape and what we're working with right now.
Right.
Are a lot of companies with a lot of major investment funding that are ripping apart small town American services. Even if, you're talking about something like a New York City cab company and New York City licensed cabbies.
Right.
That's what we're taking out.
However, what this should have been done, and a good business model for this, is for them to take a note from the other companies that have done this. Networks especially, because let the driver set their own rate. They set their own hours. They're using just the software. They immediately come out of the employee situation. And not only that, you stop having gypsy companies and gypsy cabs. Gypsy, oh, I'll pick you up at 8 every day and you'll pay me $40 to drop you off at work. Do you think it's not going on here in West Virginia? It is. It has been for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandmother used to be the coal camp driver.
Basically.
Yeah. I'm quite sure she made some good coin.
I'm sure she picked up a few dollars here and there.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm sure she had her pin money, as the girls would have called it.
Uh-huh.
But she was always big about having her little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I get that. And then, but Jessica also brings up the point that they forget the social services forgets that a 1099 is not employment. But that's also where the problem comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that as a 1099 income earner, like, then it turns around, you are, whether you're registered with the state or not, as a sole proprietorship, you are a sole proprietorship.
All right.
So now 1/3 of whatever you receive is now taxable. And it creates a lot of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing when we're talking about someone using Uber and Lyft to make a few bucks here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it becomes primary income,
mm-hmm.
like, this is what is keeping the lights on, paying the mortgage, covering the utilities, buying the food, putting gas in the car, literally. All of that. How much of a gig, if you're doing this without end,
Mm-hmm.
is it?
Right.
At that point, you really are an employee. Like, I can see the argument there.
Right. But in that mash of stuff, the Uber CEO was on a show and he talked about creating something that I went, oh, I know what that is. But it was a pool that the employers or the companies would pay into, and drivers who work so many hours could take out of to pay for, like, medical insurance, vacation, whatever. And I clicked in my head and go, oh, I know what that is. That's called a union.
Effectively. Which in reality is probably a lot of what needs to start happening is a gig economy union.
Well, and I think
it represents all gig economy workers.
Yeah. But I would like to see industry-based one. Like, there's a one for drivers, steel workers. Get on that. There's one for psychics that is like, I believe it SAGs.
I have no idea.
Academy. Yeah, it's the Stage Academy.
Okay.
That actors are a part of, and production.
Oh, the Actors Guild?
Yeah.
How does that work? That's a weird place to get picked up at.
Here's the point. This is what actors get. They can buy into retirement.
Mm-hmm.
They have disability benefits. They have their health insurance provided through there. They have standardization of contracts. Sign me up.
Well, but then here's the other reality here. If we were not ripping away at the Social Security system, if we were not fighting against, Medicare for all, or at least universal health care, that's a lot of what's missing from the gig economy puzzle.
Right.
Like, when you really boil it down, is that it's not that it's a problem to be an independent worker. It is not that it is a problem to actually be a sole proprietor and have a business, or to incorporate, how whatever form that takes, LLC, a PLLC, an SLLC, like that's a new one on me, or an S corp, however that works. That's not the problem. The problem is a lot of these companies are effectively using people in a way that financially it's a short-term benefit with a lot of long-term pitfalls.
Right.
And we've not recognized that. Like right now, it's been feast or famine. You work it. If you get it and you make it and you can cover it and you can somehow keep health care through a government entity or pay it yourself, then, kudos. That's great. But if you're working Uber and Lyft and it is making up a large percentage of what you take home to pay the bills, but then there's nothing left over, like if you're on that treading water, which I'm sure in major cities, you could end up there with Uber and Lyft working as hard as you could possibly work, is that, you're just holding the boat above water. There's no dental, there's no vision care, there's no health care, there is nothing. And when you start considering that these are people who are driving for a living, think about truckers. Usually in a commercial driver situation, you want health care, if for no other reason than to make sure those employees are fit to drive. You want good vision coverage because you don't want someone with 10-year-old glasses and maybe some glaucoma starting on the roads running around. This can get expensive.
Right.
These are all aspects that we have to consider, that if we're going to shift those responsibilities onto employees or onto workers that we can't quite classify, then we have to make sure there's a way to negotiate wages so that they actually get paid enough to afford, unless they start putting hour limits on it. Or you can work 10 hours. That's it. You're done.
The other way of doing that is you set your rate. That's the important part there. Uber and Lyft is setting their rates.
True.
That's a problem.
Very true.
Because think about it. $2.99 taxi in New York, what the hell? That's cheap. $2.99 taxi in Oak Hill, West Virginia, you ain't driving anybody anywhere.
Well, there is a fair amount of that.
Yeah.
Although, then again, it's probably opened up a lot of services as well.
Right.
Because, in West Virginia, taxi services aren't quite as prevalent. It's not that they don't exist.
And the ones that do are crap.
Do what now?
And the ones that do are crap.
Well, yeah, they're very limited and they're not very prompt and on time. They're, if nothing else, we can turn to your mom's example.
Exactly.
She's not waiting for hours for a cab. So, I mean, it's not very prompt. It's not extremely reliable. It's not great for doctor's appointments.
Right.
And it creates a laundry list of issues that in an Uber Lyft kind of offering, you may not encounter, and you may have longer range. That if someone will take it, that you may not have, outside of, like, if you're in Beckley and you live in Beckley and you're going in Beckley, you can get a cab. If you need to go further distances or you live out in the holler, you might have problems.
Yeah, and Mom lives in downtown Beckley. She has a lovely apartment, and I was really proud that she decided that she was going to do taxi service. Until I heard some of the stuff going on, I'm like, this ain't going to work. Time to reorganize.
Yeah, because she's literally minutes away from the hospital she got stranded at.
Yeah.
And it took hours to get a cab to her. It is like, at best, a 10-minute drive.
Right.
At best, a 10-minute drive.
And that's in heavy
And
traffic. This is late.
Yeah, and it wasn't a one-off event. It's happened so many times, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, there's no hope of her being able to take a cab to go grocery shopping. Not going to happen. Like, how do you plan for ice cream to, like, sit there for anywhere between 20 minutes and, like, tomorrow?
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but, I was saying it, that she's able to very quickly, she's adapted, we've adapted, we love click lists. I can get a message that says I need this, and I can do a click list and say, pick this up, and done.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Emily's put in a lot of stuff here, so why don't you take and cover all that?
Okay, and then we do have a question from Terry.
Okay.
So Emily was saying, my grandparents had their own porcelain art business out of their basement garage. Grandpa was a chemist and made his own porcelain pour mixes, and Grandma painted them. That was their retirement money. There have been attempts over the years to create a fine art artist guild to standardize commission prices. The biggest problem with having a 1099 income is that you have to pay double the Medicare and Social Security taxes than having a W-2 where your employer pays half. They could find a way to fix that problem, and it would be a huge relief for gig workers. Yes, it would.
Would be. Yeah, because normal is 17%. If you're a W-2 worker, 17% of your check leaves. If you're an independent contractor, 33% of your check you have to write out.
Yeah. And those are vague numbers.
Right.
As in, the more you make, the bigger that number can get.
Exactly. But if you have a guild or a union that is representing you or you're a part of, then you can you can take that 17%, give it to them, and they'll provide benefits like health insurance, paid leave, that type of things. Otherwise, Hollywood have been bankrupt years ago. And that was a Betty Davis thing that started that with the SOS.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So, we've seen this before. We know what works. It's just that we've got to get people and places together and to build them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and it's going to be a more important problem if we are not able to do universal health care within the next few years.
Right.
Like, I think we're all, with the gig economy, sitting on a ticking time bomb right now.
Well, I think with the gig economy, we're doing more than sitting on a ticking time bomb. We're sitting on a gold mine. Because here's the facts. As independent contractors, if there was a guild or a unifying system, just looking at our chat, each of us are going to pay about $365 a month for a health insurance plan.
Oh, you're great, Emily. No. You're making wonderful points.
Yeah. But, so let's say that's $900 a month. Well, if you team them up and you go as a group plan, it's about $400 a month.
Well, or can be at least.
Yeah.
But no, and that is a large part of it, is that insurance pooling, which is what happens, typically looks at the demographics of the entire group and goes, okay, yeah, the 50-year-old is probably a few years away from a heart attack, but that group of 20-year-olds, let me tell you, they're going to break a leg, they're going to do something stupid, but otherwise it's going to be cheap, man. And I've seen companies do that, but it also can have a counteracting effect. Within corporations, there are people that literally get fired because they're too old and too sick to insure.
Right.
Like, and I did go through that with a company I worked for, where it was common knowledge around the office, as ugly as that was, that the whole reason our insurance was so friggin' expensive was because of one employee who had multiple back surgeries.
Yep.
And it's kind of an ugly situation when your coworkers turn on you like that.
Yeah.
That they effectively hate you because you're the reason friggin', $200 is coming out of my check.
Right.
Like, if we got rid of that one,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have this problem. And she gets a commission. Why can't she pay the lion's share?
Right.
You get that going. But it was a given idea that once a year she was going to be off for a couple of months after a back surgery because
Right.
I could not get her fixed.
Right.
I mean, instead of the, wow, look at you, you're still working even though you have all these issues.
Right. And then, hence, the family practitioners who are ditching insurance model and connecting directly with patients where they pay and the doctor much cheaper monthly rates in exchange for unlimited services to their family. Some even offer house visits again, like the old days. Now, where we go to, where SuperDoc's office is, it does have that model ready if we ever need it. But that is a very big thing is, and you dealt with in your teenage years someone that pioneered that model.
Yes, actually. Well, college years at least. And I was actually, while you were saying that, looking to see if she is still in practice, and she is.
Awesome.
Oh, she hadn't even moved. Oh, that's so cute. So Dr. Elizabeth Vaughn, she is a trip. Let me tell you, that temp services call to go work for her practice was just amazeballs. That's like, and I always tell the story the same way, is that like temp agencies, the employees there, when they call you for an assignment, they are usually a normal level of used car salesman. Like, hello, we have an assignment for you. The day they called for her, it was, hello! They were over the top. And I was like, oh, God, how bad is it? Like, how dirty is this job? Like, are you going to send me to go, like, sweep sewers? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? How bad is this going to be? And they're like, no. It's an office job. It's for, a doctor's office here in Greensboro. And, just you could hear this over the phone. I'm going, but what's the catch? And they're like, because I'm already like, sign me up. And they're like, well, before you agree, go look at this website and then call us back. So I went and looked at the website and I'm like, okay, I'm fine with this. Dr. Vaughn. Okay, she's a little different. She works on a prepay annual subscription model, unlimited doctor's visits, no charge for those visits. She gives you her personal cell phone number to call her at any hour. Okay, yeah, she calls herself the Aaron Brockovich of medicine, and she's got this whole thing about bra free, and I think that was her one of her websites was brawfree.org, talking about the harms of bras for women. And I'm like, okay, I still don't see the problem, and I'm seeing pictures of her. She wears a lab coat, and then under that lab coat, she's usually wearing a tube top and a mini skirt with platform heels. Okay, I'm still good. Turns out, so I called back and took the assignment. And turns out they had been through a crap ton of temps because no one else had gotten quite the speech I got.
Uh-huh.
And they showed up, saw this doctor with her, Dolly Parton hair, just big, blonde, teased out hair, and her tube top and a mini skirt and what they deemed hooker heels, and freaked the hell out. But here's her thing. Her goal, she's a very incredibly smart woman. I dearly loved working for her. She figured out long ago that men don't go to the damn doctor because they don't want to and they don't like it and it's not fun. And by the way, someone's going to put a finger up my butt. So she said, a good way to get men to a doctor is to look like someone they want to go see. So she dressed the part. And meanwhile, her female patients loved her.
Mm-hmm.
Like and this, at the time, I think Dr. Vaughn was in her 50s. So now we're talking 60-ish. Amazing woman in amazing shape. She looks way younger than her age. But she was a trip to work for. Loved it. I loved every minute there. They wanted to hire me. I wanted to work there, and then the temp service wanted like 3 years of my annual pay up front to hire me, or like a percentage of that. And they were like, we can't afford you.
Right.
So I went back and finished college.
No, that was still good for you, but at the same time, her business model works really good for doctors.
It worked amazing. It worked amazing. Like, all of her patients dearly loved her. Like, you didn't have to wait for scheduling. We kept a very tight ship, and she knew all of her patients. Like, she was not a dumb woman. Like, she had a near photographic memory, and she could rattle off, like, just give me a name, and okay, I can tell you what, this is going on, and you're having a problem with this. It's probably related to that. Like, just instantaneous recall. Loved it. It was amazing.
And how was her office?
In terms of?
Work style, comfortability, fun.
It was an absolutely normal office. It really was. I mean, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fun.
No, I think there was one problem with it, or one thing that was a little weird.
Oh, what's that?
The chairs.
Oh no, I still love those chairs. Oh my god. I don't know where she got those desk chairs, but oh my god, I love them. There were these bungee cord chairs, and that was the thing I freaked. I was a bigger boy then. Like, I was coming off the mom died, I found them, unlimited meal plan comforting phase of my life. And so I walked into this office, and I see what looks like an old school lawn chair with a 5-point wheelbase covered in bungee cords. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. Oh my god, that was the most ergonomic chair. Oh, I loved it. Oh, they were amazing. But no, I loved working for Dr. Vaughn. I have always sung her praises. She is absolutely awesome.
You've had some really cool people you've worked with.
Yeah, well, and she charged at the time. Don't go calling her. She's in Greensboro. Don't go calling her, telling her Joe said. At the time, I believe it was like $1,500 a year. That was it. Like, that was your once a year payment. And you got her home cell phone number, or basically a home cell phone number. It did directly connect to a cell phone she carried. So calling it her personal cell phone, not exactly. She had another phone for that. But she always had both. Don't get me wrong. That woman walked around like a little tech MacGyver. She got her phone and her, she was tooled out. And yeah, you could literally call same day walk-in appointment situations, like no big deal. And she would totally drop everything. Like, she loved her patients and her patients loved her. It was amazing. And it was like, oh my god, where has this been? You know what I mean? And then, like, working there, like, if she noticed anything, she was like, hey, come here. It is so weird. Or for me, it was working in a doctor's office and then having her look and go, come here a minute. I think you need a blood test. And what for what? Do you know your blood type? No. Why don't you know your blood type? Oh no, it never came up. because she was a big proponent of the eat right for your type.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't wrong. Well, I don't find it wrong. I'm type O, just as a side note.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love pasta, pasta is not good for me.
Uh-huh. It's not good for anybody unless it's fresh.
Well, but no, she was amazing. Did comments stop? Did I
Uh,
kill the show, or is everyone just laughing so hard?
I think everyone's waiting for me to take a question. I don't know, because...
Oh, okay. Did I lose the question? Oh, Terry's.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Terry 31357. Why does Mark tell me he loves me, then he stops, and when I tell him the same thing, he quits? When I tell him the same thing, so quit, like he doesn't care.
I don't think that he doesn't care. It's that he doesn't know how to accept it. He's like, all right, you love me. What do you want? And he's waiting for the shoe. Okay. Looking at it, he's got past issues. We know he has past issues with the relationships. He sees you as this very comfortable, lovely woman, but he's looking for work. What do he's hearing that as, do something. I want you to do X. You're not giving him X. Or correct something, i.e., I love you, Joe, but would you please, stop bumping the table?
I'm bouncy, okay?
I know. Those are great examples. He's waiting for the next part of that sentence.
Alrighty. Well, hopefully that helps. And Jessica has confirmed that we were quiet.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you didn't fall asleep there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, oh God, the one in yellow's talking, just blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh. But no, I would really like to see that in medical. That's why we designed my VIP program.
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's clients that get a certain level of different accesses. They can get a lot more benefits there. But that's why we designed it. Now let's talk about something kind of internally.
Okay.
Facebook store.
Oh, you're going to go there.
We're going there.
Oh, we're going there. Oh, crap.
Okay, as you guys will notice on Aeson Knight's page and the Psychic Coffee Shop, there is no longer a store.
Yep.
And any independent business owner, do not open a store if your goods are digital on Facebook, hosted on your own website. Facebook is basically pulling the Etsy stunt, is basically pulling the other stunts attached to it by not paying out. They let me have a store. I hit my minimum a long time ago. But then they go in and disqualify the item and disqualify the charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were digging around through that. And effectively, it works out to, while effectively they have a prohibition technically on services being part of the market. They want goods. So not a service performed, a good delivered. That's where it gets interesting, is what technically are you paying for?
Mm-hmm.
Can become the question. Now, I could almost follow their argument if you're talking about paying for a reading. Like if you're paying for a 15-minute reading or a 20-minute reading or etc. I could follow that. But if you're talking about charts and reports that create a generated work product,
mm-hmm.
then I don't understand how that is any different than any other good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a digital good, and we have already seen that, like, that's settled case law. That is a tangible good.
Right.
It physically exists. A digital object is a tangible good.
Mm-hmm.
But Facebook is arguing against it. They're saying, no, it's not. It's not a good.
that it's a product of a service, is what they're saying.
Well, but okay, so I still don't understand that. Um, and I don't know where their thing is. Are they doing it as like it's a prohibition against customization?
No, it's a prohibition against the occult.
Well, okay, we're going to get to that point in a minute.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm trying to figure out is their actual legal argument there.
Their legal argument is that the readings or the charts is a product of the service.
Okay, and again, I could almost follow that, or can follow that, really.
Right.
Like I can take a reading and fit it in there.
Right.
But when you look at the charts, that's effectively the same difference to me. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That would be no different than if you were running a Leatherworks and you offered the ability to monogram.
Right.
And it was a required part of the purchase is what are the initials.
Right.
Because ultimately, you're asking a few base questions to customize a product and then provide it. It's not really, I missed the service part.
Charge can be printed. I actually provide printing and shipping for them.
And that's one of the options at checkout.
Right. But that is why there is no longer a Facebook store, because we got took for a good bit of money by Facebook. However, you will start seeing in my feed advertisements for houseofaeson.com that'll direct you to a specific type of reading. This is the workaround I would recommend for everybody, is that you, get a PayPal. God love PayPal. And they'll give you the tools, the shopping cart for free. You pay the processing fee, but you don't have to pay for maintenance.
But there's no upfront.
Right.
Right. Like if you're starting a small business and you're working on the shoestring budget model, which, aren't we all at this point? No, we love PayPal for the fact that, one, they are occult friendly, which has been a long-standing problem, is that for Aeson, like I have less problems.
Yeah.
Aeson, on the other hand, is deemed part of occult offerings, which are banned on multiple platforms.
Right.
So yeah, then you turn around and like you get shut down, and they take your money, and you know someone that had that happen on Square.
Yeah. By the way, readers, do not use Square. They can go back from the first transaction you ever had and draft it out of your account according to terms of service.
Yeah. Yeah, and Emily is talking about the absolute joys of the interconnected digital world. Because ultimately a customer ordered what was effectively a digital product that was customized, and then through PayPal was able to take the payment in I'm assuming a currency exchange as well, bypass that, but could then print it directly overseas, because again, it's a digital good. It can be moved anywhere in the world at any time, and turned into a physical product.
So, yeah. Emily, I have to correct you here. Occult services and life coaching services fall under the same terms of service. That's normally one word than the other. So with Fiverr, with Square, with Etsy, with PayPal Store, they're all banned. But here's the fun part. My customers got their readings. Their credit cards process their transactions. PayPal's not going to send them the money back. PayPal will hold the money and keep it. Just like Square done, just like Fiverr done, just like everywhere else done. It's a money grab. Because Believe me, the terms of service and all that, shoddy written. Shoddy written.
Well, and ultimately, it's not being used the way you would think it was being used.
Right.
Like what you would expect to be happening in marketplace policing is to remove bad actors
Mm-hmm.
and go, hey, look, you're not really providing anything.
Right.
You're just processing payments. And, like if you're offering, to send financial blessings, and for $200, I'll fix your finances through prayer. If that's what you are offering as a service,
Mm-hmm.
then I could see PayPal coming in and going, or, any service, PayPal, Facebook, Square, whatever, coming in and going, whoa, let's not do that.
Right.
Like, we're not comfortable with that one. That's like an opportunity to fleece mega churches. But anyway, I could see them. Yeah, I could see them stopping that. Instead, what they're doing is more like a morality policing,
Right.
and it's like, what are you related to?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Is it spiritual? Is it new age? Is it, astrological? Is it, psychic? Is it, tarot? And going occult?
Mm-hmm.
It is witchcraft and therefore banned.
Right.
Get out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah.
But I am spinning off Aeson Knight Life Coaching to be its own page. We'll be sharing that off, but it's going to get spun off into its own page. House of Aeson is getting spun off to be its own page. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for a name for Aeson Education because I want it to sound different. I don't know what Aeson blank needs to be, but it needs to be, but other than Aeson, but my classes, my online classes that we're building out, I'm looking for a new name because Aeson Education sounds like I'm going to teach you how to read words.
Oh, okay. Darn it.
Maybe Aeson Mystical, so Aeson Mystical Society or something. I'm still working on that. So yes, don't group your businesses. That's why Psychic Coffee Shop and Mountain Bears have different pages.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to spin mine off because content gets kind of clutchy.
And absolutely, Jessica, we just really suggest separate domains.
Yes.
Very much.
Separate domains, separate pages,
mm-hmm.
separate everything. That way, like, I had people booking life coaching sessions thinking they were coming for a reading. My life coaching is not reading. My life coaching is going, oh, so tell me what your values are and where we need to work at areas and what tools do you need. You're going through grief. Okay, let's break this down, get you out of that hole. Oh, you need financial stability. Well, let's work towards that and working within yourself. It's a lot of
it's a whole different tool therapy.
Whole different suitcase.
Yeah. But no, and then also one thing to point out to Jessica especially, and to anyone else looking to create what could be considered an occult business, watch your web hosting provider.
Yes, let's
go ahead. Read those terms and conditions carefully.
Yes.
There are some things on some services you cannot host.
Right.
While a lot of that is like child pornography and copyrighted downloads,
mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, sometimes in there they have a whole other host of things.
Well, let's go ahead and share our host, who we use, our main hoster.
Okay. That shows up in the search results. Yeah. So we use what was 1-in-1, which is now Ionis, I do believe.
1-in-1 Ionis or something is our main server.
Right.
Aeson Knight is hosted by Mystic Computers.
Well, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's a downsell. But that we switched over to 1-in-1 after Who was it? GoDaddy? Yeah, GoDaddy decided that they didn't want to host my site because it was getting too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, your site was slamming into some walls.
Yeah.
So yeah, and GoDaddy's never been a host I'm really happy with.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
My final straw with them was over uh, them not supporting net neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
They were totally locked in on nope, no
Right.
net neutrality. So I was like, screw you.
Bye.
Yeah. Because they were a major host for a very long time, and they still are to a degree, but they've become very strange in terms of what they allow and don't allow. Like that is one, if you're looking at GoDaddy or you're on GoDaddy, I'd suggest you review your terms very carefully because they get a little antsy and they will shut you down.
Right. And it's, but it's resellers like Mystic Computers and the main server being like 1-in-1. Or, the other one, and this is back when I used to work with the adult chat people and adult cam providers. We went exclusively with HostGator because they provided literally, like, their service is designed to provide that are you over 18 crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there are some niche markets out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a good thing to have those.
Right.
But it can also be very confusing for businesses, small businesses especially, when you're trying to just quickly get your site up. You're not super technical. You're looking for like a page builder kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting all your eggs in this basket. You're buying a domain, you're setting up your hosting service, you're putting all your stuff up there, and you put all this work into it because it's not easy. I don't care how easy they say the page builder is. If I had $1 for everyone that eventually regrets a Wix site, let me just tell you. But because it becomes a money trap, just side note, that's the rest of the story on Wix. But no, it becomes very difficult to sit there and make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So that when you're choosing, the best rates or the most whatever that you think you need, or not even knowing quite what you need, it can be a lot. And then buried in those terms and conditions, you might find out we don't support you.
Well, and here's the key thing to start doing that, and how how I've started using terms and services. Excuse me. Brag week just came in season. I knew it this morning. Was that in general? You know how if you're searching a site or a document and you're looking for a word, if you're going to use that as a search term for your site, type that word in, have it search the term in suggestions, and see how many times, what that actually says.
I'll also throw a trick out of my tool bag for small business owners right now. Granted, this is more of a Mountain Bearsy moment, but oh well. Use Reddit. Search for something related to your business, like specifically, like major topic, and watch what it pulls up in Reddit. You may find whole other search terms that you weren't going to think about. So that you kind of can get a feel. It's also a really good place if you're looking for content for your site. Not to go rip off someone else's stuff. Don't do that. That's nasty. No one does that. Like, don't make it a thing. But if you're looking for like topics that people have problems with, that like there's a need for this kind of information, you can find questions in these groups that people are legitimately asking. and then go, hey, I can write an article on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a great writing prompt for your field.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my two big giveaways.
Yeah. All right, we got a question here. Let's take that on before we go into wrap up.
All right. So Jessica 61489. I was thinking about going to about doing some classes online for business. How would that do? I'm doing it for more info.
As in, you're teaching. I'm going to give it to you both because you're going to be doing both. I think you doing some classes online for business is amazing. I think you'll do really well with it. I think you'll gain a lot of knowledge with the King of Wands popping up here. However, I do think that you end up also teaching your own classes online. In some fields, somehow you'll teach them yourself. Okay, I hope that answered. But also, get out there. There are a lot of providers of content and business practices and things that you never thought of that are on YouTube. I have taken so many classes in marketing and business management from YouTube that it is insane. To the point that, my feeds no longer show ads that are even valid. Like the Get It Done principle, and learning to market and teach.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make it its own page.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can also do that as subdomaining.
Yeah.
And to explain that really quickly, most websites are www.whatever.com or whatever. You can also do subdomains.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have classes whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can literally run two totally independent sites.
Right.
Because typically what happens is if your host were to get ticked at you, they will take down the offending site,
mm-hmm.
leaving the other one alone. Now, if you have both of those merged together and it's all one thing, both go down.
Well, not only that, but it gets confusing. And that's what I'm seeing.
Ooh, Jessica teaches physics.
Okay, cool.
Hey, that's awesome. My inner nerd just went,
yeah, I think she teaches psychic well.
Oh, psychics. Sorry, I can't read.
Well, no.
Sorry, I got all excited. I swear to God, I read physics. I was like, oh,
yeah. It is physics.
Well, it is.
But I got all excited because we were researching telepathia because I'm working on something. And Psychology Today popped up, and I'm like, really? They're doing studies since before? Because after 37, psychic endeavor studies really wasn't a thing. Well, apparently there's been a lot of things on telepathia.
Yes. Meanwhile, I don't know why I expected physics to show up in the comments on the psychic coffee shop. I really don't.
But it is physics.
Oh, I know, but still.
Right.
That's okay. We got offered, and I don't know if anyone else caught the little thing I posted earlier today on the psychic coffee shop. But yeah, this morning we got offered a connection with basically a systems person who does business systems for coffee shops and breweries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I made a whole joke post about that. It's like, oh yeah, we're on our way. We've been inspired. We're going to actually do a brick and mortar, and I'm off to buy a coffee machine.
Well, actually, I wouldn't mind teaming up and designing an Aeson coffee.
Well,
that's a dark roast with a little medium hint, not nutty, more fruity, not burnt.
Mm-hmm. Well, but we do run into a fair amount of this as people think we are a brick and mortar business that serves coffee.
Right.
And it's like, y'all didn't read that word podcast, did you? Like, I don't think you read it.
Well, here's the thing, and here's the thing in general with it. Who knows?
Hmm?
After House of Aeson is brick and mortar, and Mystic PC is brick and mortar, there could be a lovely. I mean, we would just be saving ourselves money.
Exactly.
Yes.
Psychic themed meads and brews with you at a table in the back.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, though, if we did that, I would be a horrible, horrible human being. I would try to make that area in the back look like the fortune teller machine from Big. I would totally set it up to look like that. Like that just
as long as it's freaking air conditioned, I would be cool because that's what they basically have done to psychics. You know, the Terror Association and Psychic International.
Hey, Emily got her slogan down.
And yeah, if you look at the sketches and designs and the things that people are doing, it looks like that. I would be in a plexiglass box to be doing live readings in 90-degree heat. Aeson is not heat proof.
Please. You start sweating like a pig at like 75 and it only gets worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like someone would have to walk behind him with a mop. What?
Truth.
Yeah, no, neither one of us do heat well. Like some of the events we've been doing, like I swear to God, we leave and it's a debate of whether to go to the hotel or go to the emergency room for fluids. Like, and we've had the debate. Like, I think we're going to die.
No, the debate isn't to go to the emergency room fluids. It's the debate on whether did I finally order those IV kits. It's the same.
I'm not letting a borderline heat stroke you try to give me an IV. Not happening.
Do it in my sleep.
Uh-huh.
You have gorgeous veins.
Well, this is true. Like, I'm a roadmap.
Yes.
Dude, I'm a roadmap.
All right. So this week, Patreons, you've had a new video up. There will be another video being posted of another card review. Last week's video will be coming to YouTube for you to view. I believe it's the Heal Yourself deck or it's Past Life deck. One of those two are up. That should be up here in about 2 hours. We are starting to add stuff to our Patreon. So if you're interested in it, you'll check with Vanna. I'm doing readings by network and by appointment all week. And we're getting ready for Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, where I am the MC.
Yes.
And that's kind of a flashback because I used to MC all the time in my old job. So it's going to be fun MCing Pagan Pride this year. I'm going to see if I like it. Who knows? We might start doing more of it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we want to thank our Patreon supporters, Beverly Walker and the Crystal Lotus Shop, which is located at 89 Old Main Plaza in St. Albans, West Virginia. Thank you both for your support. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter or you just want to learn more about the Psychic Coffee Shop, please visit pcspnetwork.com and you can learn so much more.
Yes, and there's content there and there's other content coming up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a great week. We will see you back on Friday around 9:30 p.m. We are not the Swish Watch Company. We operate at life.
We try.
We try.
We really try.
We really do. But otherwise, have a great evening. Relax. Enjoy your coffee. And take a moment to think about where you're going. Till then, good night, y'all. Good night.
Good night.